Welcome to the Explainer. So, you're thinking about getting into beekeeping. You've probably seen those giant catalogs, just page after page of gadgets. Well, today we are going to cut right through all that noise and get straight to what you actually need to get started. And I mean it. You don't need all of that stuff. You can get a beekeeping catalog that's like 150 pages long, and it feels like they're trying to convince you that you need two of everything. You really don't. A lot of those tools are for super specific tasks you might not do for years, if ever. The good news is, for your normal day-to-day beekeeping, this is it. This is all you truly need. You need a home for your bees, the beehive, and then just 3 key pieces of gear for you. That's the whole list. So let's break them down, starting with maybe the most iconic tool of them all. Okay, first up, the bee smoker. It's probably the very first thing that pops into your head when you think of a beekeeper, right? And for good reason. It is hands down your most important tool. People figured out thousands of years ago that smoke calms bees down, but the reason it works is pretty fascinating. So why does it work? Why does smoke have this magical effect on bees? Well, it's probably not for the reason you think. The real answer is a bit more subtle, and it has everything to do with how bees talk to each other. Let's bust a really common myth. You'll hear people say that smoke makes bees think there's a forest fire, so they start chugging honey and get too full and lazy to sting. And while, yeah, oversmoking can make them do that, it's not the main point. The reality is actually much, much cooler. The smoke is basically jamming their communication signals. It's specifically designed to mask this, the alarm pheromone. See, when a bee gets startled or feels threatened, she releases a chemical that, funny enough, smells like bananas. That scent is the hive's red alert signal. The smoke just covers up that smell, so the message of danger can't spread. No panic, no massive defensive attack. It's brilliant. Now, actually making your smoker work is all about how you light it. So many beginners make this mistake where they just stuff the can full, drop a match on top, and then wonder why it goes out in 5 minutes. The absolute key is to build the fire from the bottom up and keep pumping those bellows to feed it oxygen. And what do you burn in there? Pretty much anything natural you can find in your yard. Pine needles are fantastic, old cotton jeans, burlap, even those dried sumac heads work great. Just, stay away from anything with inks or dyes or weird chemicals that you don't want to vaporize and pump into your hive. Oh, and here's a quick pro tip. Spend the extra few bucks on a smoker that has this wire cage around it. It does 3 things. 1, it has a hook so you can hang it on the side of the hive. 2, it keeps the can from getting dented, which can mess up the seal on the lid. And 3, most importantly, it keeps you from accidentally branding yourself on a piece of red-hot metal. All right, so your smoker's going, the bees are calm, and it's time to actually get to work inside the hive. That's where your hand tools come in. They look super simple, but you will use these things for every single inspection, for all the prying and scraping and gentle persuasion a beehive requires. This little guy is your hive tool. See, bees are master architects, and they use this super sticky stuff called propolis to seal every single crack and glue everything down tight. Without this little pry bar, you literally would not be able to get anything apart. It is essential. And this brings us to a fundamental law of beekeeping. Trust me on this. Buy 2 hive tools. They have this magical ability to just vanish into the grass the second you set them down. Do yourself a huge favor and paint one of them a ridiculous color, like hot pink or hunter's orange. You will thank me later. The bee brush is, well, exactly what it sounds like. It's got these long, soft bristles for gently nudging bees out of the way. It's especially useful when you're putting the hive back together and you don't want to squish anybody. It's a much, much kinder way to move them than, say, blowing on them, which they really, really do not like. All right, the final essential piece of gear is your protective clothing. This is all about dressing for success, and that means finding the right balance between feeling safe and being comfortable enough to actually work, especially when it's hot outside. You've got options here. At the absolute minimum, you need a veil to protect your face and head. From there, you can upgrade to a jacket, or you can go for the full head-to-toe coveralls. It really just comes down to your personal comfort level and what makes you feel confident. Now, listen up, because this is probably the single most important piece of advice about veils I can give you. If a bee gets inside, and sooner or later it will happen, do not panic and rip the veil off. You've just gone from having 1 angry bee on the inside to 40,000 bees on the outside with direct access to your face. Just stay calm, pinch the bee through the fabric, and carry on. Here's a funny little secret in the beekeeping world. If you really want the best advice, go talk to the filthiest beekeeper you can find. A sparkling pure white bee suit means someone is brand new, but the suits that are all stained with brown propolis and wax, those belong to the experienced keepers. That dirt, that's street cred. Now, this might sound a little crazy, but a lot of beekeepers, as they get more experienced, they actually stop wearing those thick leather gloves. Why? Because you can't feel what you're doing, and you end up accidentally crushing bees. And what happens when you crush a bee? Pop! It releases that banana-smelling alarm pheromone, and you just made the whole situation way more tense. And one last thought on suits. Just be mindful of your neighbors. If you walk out into your backyard looking like an astronaut in a full suit of armor, you might send a pretty worrying message and make them anxious about your new hobby. Sometimes a little less gear can go a long way in keeping the peace. So, you're ready to go. You're ready to buy your first kit. And you're going to see all these tempting beginner sets online that promise to have everything you need in one box. But before you click that buy button, let's talk about what you need to watch out for. These kits can seem like a fantastic deal, but you really have to read the fine print. Often, that low price comes from including a really cheap, flimsy smoker that won't last, or a hive that's a non-standard size that you can't expand later on. It really pays to invest a little bit more in quality basics that are going to last you for years. So what's the big takeaway here? You don't need a whole catalog full of gadgets to become a beekeeper. All it really takes is a solid smoker, a trusty hive tool, and whatever protective gear makes you feel comfortable. With those basics, you are ready to start this incredible journey. And just remember, the most valuable tool you can get isn't something you can buy. It's the advice from an experienced and probably very filthy beekeeper.